As an ordinary suburban neighborhood wakes up, a resident named Alex pulls out of the driveway to start a typical morning routine. It seems simple, but Alex has already brushed up against three separate layers of government. The local city council dictated where the house could be built through zoning rules. The state government issued the marriage license in Alex's filing cabinet, and the federal government is regulating the airplanes flying overhead. This diagram shows the 5 core sources that make up this legal web. There is the Constitution, which acts as the master rulebook, statutes, which are the written laws passed by politicians, treaties, which are agreements with other countries, administrative regulations, which are the technical standards set by agencies, and common law, which is built by judges. The Constitution serves as the supreme authority for our fundamental rights, but common law works differently. It relies on judges to physically shape rules over time, writing their own decisions to resolve real-world disputes as they happen. While the federal government in Washington, D.C. dominates the news, the vast majority of Alex's daily life is actually controlled by state governments. To see how this works, imagine Alex gets into a minor fender bender during the commute. When both drivers pull over, which government authority actually has the power to handle the dispute? This is a close-up of Article 1 of the Constitution. It establishes the concept of limited power. The federal government can only make rules about the specific narrow areas written here, like running the military or managing trade between states. For everything else, states have what is called general authority. Think of this as the ultimate catch-all bucket. States have the power to regulate almost anything that isn't explicitly given to the national government, including driving rules and family matters and owning property. Because the U.S. Constitution doesn't mention local roads or car crashes, the state rulebook is the ultimate boss of this situation. When the police arrive with their flashing lights to secure the scene, the wheels of the legal machinery immediately begin to turn. This flowchart shows how the legal system splits this single accident into 2 different paths. First is criminal law. This is when the state prosecutes a driver for breaking the peace of the community. For instance, if one of the drivers was operating a car while intoxicated. The second path is civil procedure. This is how private disputes are handled. If Alex sues the other driver to pay for a dented bumper, it is just one individual seeking compensation from another. This bar chart reveals how those lawsuits end. Before a case ever reaches a jury, the 2 sides go through a long information gathering phase. It is so thorough that 97% of these disputes end in private settlements, never seeing the inside of a courtroom. The American legal system mostly functions through these quiet, negotiated settlements, far from the dramatic courtroom battles we see on television. But imagine the vehicle that hit Alex was a United States Postal Service truck. Now, a federal entity is suddenly part of a local accident. When national and state rules clash like this, courts use a tiebreaker called federal preemption. Essentially, if a valid national law and a state law conflict, the national law wins. Inside these courts, judges follow a tradition inherited from English common law. Instead of just reading from a manual, these judges write opinions that resolve messy human problems, creating new rules as they go. They do this through binding precedent. Think of it like laying down track for a train. Understanding how the higher court makes a decision today, they lock in the path that lower courts must follow tomorrow, keeping the rules stable for everyone. America borrowed that basic track-laying blueprint from England, but the 50-state systems have since evolved to solve uniquely American problems. As Alex returns home, the day's overlapping layers become clear. Local ordinances dictated the parking, state laws governed the crash, and federal laws regulated safety standards. By design, the United States is not just one single legal system, but rather 51 separate parallel systems operating simultaneously. This division of labor means the federal government in Washington handles the nation's biggest concerns, like border security and the economy, while the states manage the specific details of daily life. Understanding how the law shapes your life doesn't require memorizing what happens in Washington, D.C. It just means looking at the rules right outside your own front door.